Gene, I don't care what you know.
Ben, all I'm asking is to sit down and talk with you for a moment. Now, this is just off the record. All it'll take is 10 minutes.
Quite frankly, I'm not up to that. I've had a long, hard day, and I really need to go home.
Ben, look, you don't understand. I'm not here as a reporter. I'm here as a friend. An old friend who still cares, man. Come on.
All right, Gene, if you really mean that, then you'll drop this whole thing.
Listen, I know what went on between you and Carla.
Fine, then you know I don't want to discuss it. I really don't want to talk about Barbara Gilbert's suicide. I made that very, very clear to Carla.
Ben, she told me what you said. Now, there are a few things that she did not tell you that I think you need to know. Now, for your own sake and for the sake of your practice here at the Bedford, I'm begging you, man, please hear me out.
Well, Dr. Phillips.
Hello, Vaughn.
Come on in. Oh, that's a coincidence. I was just thinking about you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I hear you're going to give our committee a look. Gonna help find some new jobs and homes for the families displaced in Chesterfield?
Well, I told Preston I'd come to the first meeting anyway.
Well, we're grateful for at least that much of a commitment. But I know you're gonna want to be involved with us when you see the work we'll be doing.
Oh, maybe. It's an interesting idea.
Yeah, and a very profitable one. For everyone involved, that is. I mean, the city, the new company, and, well, and especially the people of Chesterfield. I assume that's why you wanted to see Preston?
I didn't come to see Preston. I came to see you, Vaughn.
Oh? Oh. Well, have a seat. What's on your mind?
I heard a few things about the defense you're planning in your upcoming annulment hearing.
And?
I need to know the truth. Everything. If ever there was a time for you to level with me, Vaughn, it's now.
Letter from Mom.
Oh, thanks.
You can take it with you. I've already answered it.
Oh, glad to hear that. These letters really mean a lot to her, you know.
So what'd you want to talk to me about?
Came to see my kid sisters. Anything wrong with that?
Well, now that you've seen me fess up, what's on your mind?
Okay, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about this deadly pursuit business.
It's not a business, John. It's a game, a harmless game.
Yeah, well, we're getting a few complaints about this harmless game. More than just a few.
Really? Even after all those warnings you gave at the general convocation last quarter?
Oh, yeah, apparently it didn't do any good.
So what'd you want to talk to me about?
I'd like you to give me some of the names, some of the ringleaders. Maybe I can talk to them personally, off the record, strictly unofficially.
John, why do you think about a stupid game at a time like this? That's the last thing on my mind right now.
Well, you don't seem to be effervescing today. Problems?
You might say that, yeah.
So, what, the grades aren't so good? Is that it?
No, it's not it.
You having a problem choosing a major for next semester? Money?
No, nothing like that.
Well, if I didn't know you better, I'd say it had to be your love life.
Getting warmer.
Yeah? So all this has got something to do with the man, huh?
That surprises you, doesn't it?
Well, look, it's encouraging at the same time.
Yeah, how so?
Well, I've been waiting a long time for my kid sister to grow out of her tomboy days and start considering men something other than potential tennis partner. So, are you the chaser or the chasee in this situation?
You know, sometimes I wish I could go back to those days. Things sure were a lot simpler then. Guess there's no going back, though, is there?
Afraid not. Look at it this way. You having a problem now, it's not going to last forever. It's all just part of growing up, process of becoming a woman. Can't be that bad, can it?
It just feels so bad. It hurts, John. It hurts so much.
What is it?
I'm in love.
Well, that's terrific. That's wonderful.
No, it isn't wonderful. It's awful. I hate it.
You hate it? Why?
Because I don't want to be in love. I've tried to fall out of love, but I can't, John. I just can't.
All right, come on. Now tell me about it.
Let me tell you something, Gene. There isn't a doctor alive who hasn't lost a patient if he's practiced long enough, or who doesn't live with the fear of it daily.
Ben, I realize that. And I fully understand and sympathize with the loss you must personally feel in regarding Mrs. Gilbert.
But see, you're implying that my career here at the Bedford is somehow threatened by this woman's suicide. Now, that just doesn't quite track for me, Gene.
If there was a suicide...
Now, wait a minute. I don't need to hear
Wait a
that. I
minute.
don't want that.
Now, you let me explain something.
No, no, there is nothing for you to explain. Now, you have to understand there has been no one pressing charges. The police are fully convinced it was a suicide. They've dropped the investigation. John Brubaker himself told me that it's a forgotten matter by the newspapers, by the police, by every responsible citizen. So why can't you forget it?
Ben, have you ever heard of the organization called DOMI? Huh?
Tell me. I don't know.
Listen, it's an organization in this town. It stands for Dominion of Man's Intellect, a pseudo-self-help group.
All right, yes, I've heard about it. Nancy Lawson, I believe, belongs
Okay, now
to
let me
it.
tell you something. I've been doing some investigating. Now, that's just between you and me. But it turns out that Mrs. Gilbert is a member, or was a member of DOMI, and she's gone to a lot of their meetings, and she also took private sessions from this Vanessa Vazan.
Oh, great. Well, that's great. I mean, I bet she also went to the grocery store, to church. She probably shopped at Grayson's department store.
Ben, would you listen to
Hey,
me?
now look. Some people are smart enough to know when they have problems. Some people see a psychiatrist. Others go to a self-help group. I really don't see anything wrong with that, Gene.
Because you don't understand this DOMI, man. It's not what it appears to be. Now, if you just give me a few minutes and
See,
listen.
I don't understand the point of all this. Whether it's DOMI or AA or Thursday night bowling. Why should I care about someone else's outside interests? I treat my patients for medical problems. I don't question them. I don't dictate to them how they should live their lives. That is not my jurisdiction.
I wonder if your friend Brian Graham holds that same philosophy. Because I saw him talking with the head of DOMI, Vanessa Vazan.
Brian knows a lot of people around town.
Are you telling me that you know about Brian and Vanessa's association?
Yes, of course I do. He brought her to the charity ball.
And you knew she was the head of DOMI?
Look, what are you trying to prove? That there's some connection between DOMI and Brian?
No,
and the Institute?
Ben, I can't prove it, man, but I believe there is, yes.
Okay, such as?
Such as, Mrs. Gilbert was a very wealthy woman who left a large estate. Now, my suspicion is that most of that went to DOMI.
Even if that is true, how does that connect with Brian Graham?
I don't know, it's just that Brian and this Vanessa are so buddy-buddy.
Oh, they're buddy-buddy. Well, Brian's a very popular guy. But his social life isn't my concern, Gene. Now, as far as Mrs. Gilbert and her estate, have you talked to her lawyer?
I tried talking to her lawyers, but they wouldn't see me.
Oh, they wouldn't see you. So then this is speculation as to where or to whom she left her money. It is only that, speculation. Now, to be honest with you, Gene, it seems to me you are really stretching for a story here.
I can't believe you said that, Ben. Look, I want to ask you something. In the time that you were seeing Mrs. Gilbert, did she ever say anything to you at all about DOMI? Did she?
Oh, come on, you said 5 minutes. Your time's out.
Oh, wait a minute. Come on, Ben, listen to me. Now, that prescription that you wrote for her, isn't it a possibility that someone else knew about it and counter-prescribed that with a lethal dosage of medication to take along with that one?
No, that is enough. That is enough. I don't want to jeopardize our friendship. So I think you better leave. Right now.
What would you like me to say?
I'm asking you to level with me. Now, if you don't want to, that's your prerogative, but I want to help you.
Well, look, Dave, you know everything there is to know about this whole situation anyway, so why all the questions? What, are you trying to trick me into saying something that I don't want to?
No, I want you to tell me the truth. Because I told you I want to help you, all I can.
What, you don't believe that I've had an affair? A successful affair, as Harold Webster so delicately puts it?
Vaughn, I remember the day when you came into my clinic to talk about your problem. A problem you said you had had all of your life.
Right, right. And do you remember the tests you took that proved that I was not impotent?
All the tests proved, Vaughn, was that your impotence was not due to physiological reasons.
So I don't understand. What are you trying to say, that I did not have an affair? Tell me, why are you asking this? Is it out of curiosity or as a doctor?
I'm asking because there's a very good chance that I'll be called to testify in this case against you.
What?
Courtney's lawyer has asked me to be a witness on her side. Now, look, I don't know the details of your defense, the who, the what, or the why of it. But I do know that what you plan to testify to in court and what you told me that day in my office are totally contradictory. Now, I want you to level with me, Vaughn, because I want to help you. But I won't lie for anyone.
I'm sorry, Gene, but I want you to leave.
I'm sorry too, Ben, because you're making a big mistake.
I'll go away. Who is it?
It's only I.
Oh, Vanessa. I mean, Dr. Pazan.
Please, Vanessa. Oh, I'm afraid I've come at a bad time.
For me, no. For Brian, yes. He left some time ago. He had a very important, engagement of some sort.
Oh, you mean he had a date with an attractive woman? I know.
You do?
Yes, it was with me, his date.
Well, after all the women that Brian has stood up, I guess turnabout is fair play.
I didn't stand him up. I just rushed through dinner and asked if we could make it an early afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Any special reason?
Well, yes, I did have a special reason. Because I wanted to see you this afternoon.
All right, now I want you to tell me, who is this guy that's captured my kid sister's heart?
Look, I just don't want to tell you who it is right now. You mind?
Do I know him?
What does it matter? I just don't want to talk about it.
You're in love with somebody and you don't want to talk about it. That's got to be pretty bad. Is he married? Is he?
Your guess is as good as mine at the moment.
Well, what is it? Is he in love with somebody else? Is that the problem?
Yeah, hopelessly. Not that I can say I blame him very much.
Oh, yeah? You know her?
Yeah, she's gorgeous. Rich, beautiful, fragile, delicate, feminine.
Oh, come on.
Everything I'm not.
Come on, will you? You just haven't outgrown your tomboy yet, that's all. Just wait. One of these days, the right guy is
Wait,
going
I'll
to
probably be waiting when he's a grandfather.
Now, you listen to me, young lady. I don't want you to sell yourself short. There are a lot of guys out there who are looking for a young girl just like you. You got a lot going for you. Listen to me. More than you think.
Yeah? Like what?
Like you're fun-loving. You got a spirit that's full of adventure. You got a lot of confidence. You got it together. You can handle just about any situation.
Sure, John. That's why you had to bail me out of juvenile court so many times.
Look, I realize you were a problem growing up, but you've outgrown that mischief.
You've heard of Sweet 16 and never been kissed? Want to know my claim to fame? I was 18 before I dated a guy I couldn't beat up.
Tina, this stuff doesn't come easy. Growing up, learning how to be a real woman. It just doesn't come overnight. And besides, any guy who is worth his salt is not going to want you to... He doesn't want you to pretend to be something you're not. He is going to want to love the real you.
John, I don't even know who the real me is right now. How can I expect anyone else to?
Hey, when the right time and the right guy comes along, you'll know it. And so will he. You're going to look into each other's eyes, right down to the soul. You're going to see something beautiful there, something you've never seen before. That will be real. And all the waiting that went before
It'll be worth it.
Never happened to you?
Well, not yet, but I still believe in it. And I think down deep you do too.
Dave, I'm not going to change my story, whether or not you believe me.
Well, I want to believe you, Vaughn, but somehow it just doesn't ring true to me.
Look, the NPT test showed that my problem was psychological, not physical.
Which is why I recommended psychological counseling. But if you already had an affair, a successful affair as you put it, then why did you come to see me in the first place?
Oh. So that's why the Doubting Thomas routine, huh?
Can you give me an answer?
Yes. The question of my sterility.
But the sterility was healed, but you were still concerned about your impotence.
Yes. Well, as you suggested, I got counseling. The situation improved.
Now, wait a minute. Are you saying you had this affair after you saw me, but before the wedding?
Now do you understand why I haven't told anyone?
Are you telling me the truth?
Yes. Now do you understand?
Well, I can certainly understand why you wouldn't want Courtney to know.
Right before our wedding, I met someone. Now, I'm not condoning what I did, but I am saying that I found myself aroused by her, and I decided to follow through with it. I thought it was a healthy sign. But that still doesn't make me feel unashamed about what I did. But it is proof, isn't it, that had Courtney allotted me the time, we still could have had a normal relationship?
I don't know, Vaughn.
Those tests showed my problem was psychological, not physical. That's why I don't care if you testify.
Well, with Dan Myers asking the questions, he's pretty shrewd, you know. And whatever he gets out of me, medical or otherwise, he'll use to his own advantage. You've got to know that.
Look, you just go ahead and testify. You let Dan Myers ask whatever question he wants to ask you, and you answer it as truthfully as you want to. Because frankly, I don't care. I don't have anything to hide, and I'm not afraid of taking these risks.
You wanted to see me. Why?
Can we be frank? I decided I'd like to really get to know you better. As one professional to another, of course.
Well, Brian speaks very highly of your professionalism. But there are certain other sources who have opened it to question.
Other sources? I wonder who that might be.
Certain people I've talked to who aren't very enthusiastic about your organization.
That's fair enough. But tell me, Dr. Martin, what do you think about Domi?
I really don't know enough about it, one way or the other. I can't judge.
Well, to put it very simply, the Domi philosophy believes that the resources of the human mind are limitless, that mankind's problems are solvable. It's just a matter of tapping into the right resource.
Well, I agree with that to a certain point, but it does seem you're ignoring the spiritual side of man, and I think that's just as important as the intellect.
Oh, no, that's exactly what I'm talking about. But I don't believe that you can separate the spirit from the intellect. It's the combination of the two that makes it so exciting and so powerful.
Oh, I see. So then you do recognize the importance of spirituality.
Indeed, I do. As a matter of fact, I consider myself to be a very spiritual person.
Really? Now, for some reason, that surprises me.
Does it? Well, perhaps it's just a matter of your definition of spiritual commitment, if you mean religious or church-going. No, but tell me something, Dr. Martin. Where do you stand on spiritual commitment?
If you're asking if I'm religious and church-going, the answer is yes. And I certainly believe in God.
Oh, you do? Now that surprises me.
Why should it?
Well, what you're doing here, your practice. Where do tummy tucks and facelifts fit in with your idea of God?
A lot of well-meaning people tend to put God in a box, but I don't do that. I think he's much bigger, without limitations, in fact. And I certainly believe he's more open-minded than people give him credit for.
You say him. Isn't that placing a limitation of its own sort?
Not really. I'm a Christian, and by that I mean I have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. But as far as my work here at the Bedford is concerned, I believe that, Well, let's just say I believe this is where God wants me right now.
Ben, I'm not trying to lay any guilt trip on you. Your struggles and your personal God are no...
Wait. Who said anything about struggles?
I'm very sensitive to people's vibrations. And I sense that you are very troubled. Perhaps that's the reason why I chose to come here this afternoon. Because I sensed you were troubled, confused.
Well, tell me something. If I gave you the opportunity, could you help me out of that confusion?
Gladly. That's what Domi is all about.
Now, I'm not speaking in spiritual terms. The answers I need are a bit more concrete and pragmatic.
Well, I don't know how I could help you.
Oh, I think you could help me. I think you could be a very big help. For instance, let's talk about the patients that we share. Barbara Gilbert, for example. Let's start with her. Tell me everything you know about Barbara Gilbert, Dr. Fasan.
Thursday on Another Life. Harold questions John about Tina.
Tina? I didn't know you knew her.
Well, we met only recently.
What, is she in some kind of trouble?
And Ben demands some answers.
Barbara Gilbert, yes, of course, I remember.
Good. Because I think you have a little explaining to do.
Watch Another Life